Awareness gives us choice. So when we become aware or conscious of there being other possibilities, more than one possibility, that's when we get a choice. And then when we have choice, we have freedom. That's actually when we get free will. Until we have enough awareness to see other possibilities, we really don't have free will. What we do have is we just have our way of responding to the same thing over and over again. We have our behavioral pattern, or you could say our karmic pattern. And we react to things. Someone says something and we unconsciously react without realizing that when that person says something, I may feel something, it may piss me off, or I may want to say something, but then I realize, oh, but I have other choices. I don't have to just react. I can consider that what are my options here? What are my choices? And I can see the other choices because I have awareness. So anyway, it can get a little complicated, and the more awareness we have, the more choices we get, the more possibilities we can see. And this is why, having more awareness or more consciousness, being conscious of more things, I've also talked about it as in having a higher level of consciousness. You see more of the world, you have more choices, and you're living in a bigger pond. And so more freedom. You have more freedom. However, it's more complicated. Versus if you're unconscious and you just have your one choice, life is pretty simple. Did you ever have a family member? A family member or friend that or a coworker that seems to have this kind of simple life. And they just, it just is like they have, whatever, the 3 kids and the golden retriever and the whatever it is, the white, the house, and they own their own house and they live in this town and they have a job, they have a career that's very stable, and, they have a lake at the, a house at the lake or whatever it is, this American dream thing that they do. And do you ever say, God, why can't I have that? And usually that's when you have many, many more choices, life gets more complicated and we have to think about our choices more, or intuit our choices more. So it does get a little more complicated. And the other thing that happens is when we have more awareness, and I'm talking, the people that are watching this, you likely have more awareness. You see more possibilities. You're more conscious. You have a higher level of consciousness. So your world is bigger, which means it's more complicated. Why is it complicated? Because we have more possibilities to choose from. We have more freedom, And so what am I going to choose? And so that becomes tricky. And then the first fear that often comes up, okay, with I know with myself and with most people I've worked with, is if I have choices, it's what if I make the wrong choice? So then it gets very it feels critical. Possibly it feels more critical than it is, But some of these choices are important, right? And even the little choices, they make a difference in our life. So then we're sitting there, I have choice, but what if I make the wrong choice? And then, to make matters even trickier, the choice that's in our comfort zone that we're used to often feels right, even though if it's not working, it feels normal. So when we make a new choice that's out of our comfort zone, we see more. So we have a spiritual experience. We see more choices. You meditate a lot, whatever it is you do ceremony, you do therapy, and now you have more awareness, okay? And now you see more choices. And now you start seeing choices that you didn't see before. I know you guys are experiencing this. It's like, wow, I'm seeing more choices than I saw before. That's a good sign. You now have more freedom, and it's a little more complicated. So it's like the choices that you're used to, they feel normal. They're known choices. We know the outcome of those. We know that if we do this and we get this outcome. Now, it may not even be a good outcome, but it still feels comfortable, hence the comfort zone. When we see new choices, we don't know. Well, there's a couple of challenges that make them scary. First of all, we don't know what the outcome is going to be because it's a newer type choice, or we have not as much experience with that choice. We may have done it a few times, but we have a smaller sample size of what the outcome's going to be. So that is scary. Making a choice when you don't know the outcome is scarier than making a choice that you know the outcome. And actually, you don't really know the outcome, but the odds of that outcome are higher, and you believe you know the outcome, making it less scary. So that's the one thing, is you know the outcome. The other thing is it feels weird. It doesn't feel normal. We're not used to it. So we're making a choice and it feels weird and it feels scary. And it's like, oh my God, what will happen? What if it's the wrong choice? And of course, there's only one way to find out, is to take some risks and make some different choices, even though they feel weird, even though you don't know the outcome. And so you're exercising your freedom. Until that, we don't really have the advantage. We're not getting the advantage and the benefit of all this awareness that we've been awakening in ourselves. I know so many of my clients, they get to this phase where they see things, they have the awareness, and I do this too. I'm just saying we have the awareness, okay, and we see new possibilities. So we have the ability to make choices. We have the ability to be free. We have more freedom. We have more choices. Our world is bigger, but yet we still make the same choice because it's safe. And it's not wrong, but we're not taking advantage of the freedom and the choices that we have. We're not exercising our free will to its fullest extent. And therefore we're not really gleaning one of the biggest benefits of having awareness and consciousness. One of the biggest benefits of having spiritual awareness and having, spiritual awakenings. We're not really leveraging, we get the stress of it. It's like, oh my God, I have so many choices. Life is complicated. What should I do? What if I make the wrong choice? We get all of that, but we're not getting the good stuff because we're not staying with it long enough to try some new choices and then have more freedom and more richness and different outcomes that have more abundance, more beauty. That is my video for this week. My suggestion is just sit with this, and when you have an opportunity to make a different choice, okay, you see different choices, try just, sitting with that and saying, I wonder, what are my choices here? And I wonder what'll happen. And maybe I'll try a different choice and see what happens. Maybe on some things that aren't so critical at first, and get used to it a little bit and see what happens. So you can have choice, you can have free will, you can enjoy the spiritual freedom that you've worked so hard for. And I will see you in a week.